Okay guys, so this is my track guide for iRacing. It's basically, I'm a rookie at iRacing, but the thinking is I'm not the fastest at iRacing, but this will sort of help someone that's also new to iRacing. So I'm going to also like share some tips that I found that also helped me get transition from, so I started on a set of course, yeah. Then I went to ACC, then when I went back to AC, and then I went to Le Mans Ultimate. And Le Mans Ultimate, if you come from that game, it's quite similar. So if some of you guys can't afford iRacing, trust me, I've been there. It's very expensive, as we all know. It's really expensive. It's stupid expensive. But if you can afford it, and if you even want to try it, like literally it's a Black Friday sale right now. So if you want to try it, it's cheaper. It's still not cheap, but it's cheaper, right? So I'm a student, so obviously I can't be spending stupid money on games, but when something is this high quality, I don't really mind because iRacing it just works it works so beautifully well, and it's quite easy to run as well. Like my PC is basically just relaxing right now, and it's fine. But then again I got this PC for free. It's served me very well. Okay, so anyway, so this lap was a 1:33.482. It's highlighted in red. I think I cut just a little bit. I didn't even cut. It was more like just an off-track sort of thing, but it's a general idea. As you can see, I'm in that time zone, 1:33.591. My fastest lap that was 100% clean, no like outside was 1:33.555, I think. So this is gonna be a guide. If you can do this lap in rookies, I found that you can get pole. Like I've won 2 races out of 3 so far. Just getting this sort of general lap time. I think my last race wasn't the greatest ever pole position. I still got it, even though I barely scraped the 1:33 from my memory. Let's just see here. No, qualify 1:33.898. Yeah, so it wasn't the greatest lap, but I still got pole. So if you can set at 1:33, I'd say you get pole in rookies. So without further ado, let's go. So coming off the straight into turn 1. It's quite a high speed. It's a very high speed corner in this Mazda because it's got absolutely no power. So the trick with this car is to conserve your momentum. That's what I found to be the greatest sort of strategy for this car. So the first turn is basically flat. I mean, I've seen some people lifting, but I don't really get that. I feel like if you take it flat, you also run yourself a tiny bit wide, which is also useful to set up the next corner. So we take this corner flat, or we can lift a little bit. It doesn't really matter. You won't lose any time. Basically, it depends how much you slow down for the next corner. But anyway, so we take this corner flat. We leave like a car's width when we pass this corner. You'll see right now. So I'm leaving a car's width and I'm shifting down back into third. I put auto blip on because genuinely every time you shift down with this car without auto blip, it would just be like you'd spin basically. So auto blip sort of helps, but you could also manually blip. I think that would be better almost, but it's just like I don't really know. Now that I've learned with auto blip, it's like it doesn't sell the car a little bit, but it's not bad. It's very manageable. So a trick of iRacing that I found, it's quite similar to LMU. Like if you come from LMU to iRacing, it's quite transferable. From ACC to iRacing, not so much because of the way you brake in ACC. It's a lot different. It feels like on iRacing you have to brake balance really towards the rear. Like you have to be very gentle on the releasing pressure. You have to be very mindful of what you're doing on the pedal, and that's always been what I've sort of learned. I don't know where I learned it from, but that's always what I've sort of done. Even on AC, and it just I wasn't the fastest on AC because of it, because you brake on AC on a harder pressure. So coming to iRacing, you want a very light pressure. As you can see, it's literally 10% pressure. And for this next corner, we want to sort of hold this 10% pressure around the corner to sort of slow the car down. It's not even to slow the car down. It's more to just get the fronts to bite. I don't even think of this corner as slowing it down. I just think of it as, okay, I need the fronts to bite a bit more because I'm going to get some bad understeer. So we leave the car's width and we basically just dive to this apex. And as you can see, I'm purposely running the car out a little bit wide. I've seen other people running it all the way out wide, but then it's very hard to get the car turned into the next corner because I just find there's quite little grip on the outside. But if you sort of just run this corner a little bit wide, I think you'll be fine. And then we shift straight to second gear. And then we basically, I'll tell you the turning point. Okay, so we want to aim for this curb right here in second gear. We can sort of feather around we can sort of interchange the throttle and brake right here. I call it throttle just because I used to be into drones, but anyway, we can sort of interchange the accelerator and the brake just a little bit, because it's a very tricky corner, this second gear, this third corner, because it's like, ooh, I could go faster, but then also I'm going to run the risk of running wide, and we want a semi-good exit here. We sort of want a clean corner, not too late, not too early, because the straight afterwards is not very long anyway. It just depends if there's a car behind you. If there's a car behind you, focus on the exit, but if there's not, then just, if you're hop lapping or getting a qualifying lap, then I'd just recommend just taking this corner normally. But basically, you run it wide. I reckon I could have run it wider here, but as I mentioned, I just find like the car gets really unsettled on the curb, and it's just like, I'd rather have a cleaner lap than having a 50% chance of spinning off. I'm just not that good yet to really push the track limits on this specific corner, but I think I'll get there. So second gear, we aim basically for this curb right here. We're trying to aim to the center of it. And once we do that, we need to be patient on the throttle. This is something that I really struggled with in this corner. It just sort of tricks you into, okay, apply the gas early, but then it's like, okay, I want to steer off now. So we want to be patient on the throttle. You feel like you'll be losing time, but you're not. You're almost gaining it, because you're gonna not need to lift afterwards. So like, just be patient on the throttle. Just wait for the car to rotate. As you can see here, I throttled out too early, so then I had to lift. So if I was more patient, I could have just got a better cleaner run through the corner. And then we basically just smash the accelerator down, and then we try and bring it over to the left as much as possible, because you have this right-hander here that you don't want to understeer wide and cut, because otherwise you'll get the slow down penalty, which is everyone's worst nightmare. Okay, so this corner, very interesting. On this track, there's very little braking markers, but it still feels so good, this track. I really like it. So what I do is, when this tree exits me, or I can even use this orange barrier here, or I can even, there's like a little squiggly line even here, right here. We can brake alongside that. So there's a few, but they're not great. Like, let's be honest, they're pretty horrendous. So I tend to stick to when I exit here. But we want to focus, so this is a first gear corner, and we can sort of take it faster than you think, because we're going back up the hill anyway, so the car sort of sucks you in, especially because there's camber as well, so we can take it like quite a high first. And what I mean by that is that the revs in first are quite high still. There's not like a low first gear, so where the revs are really low, it can be pretty high. And as you can see, I'm trail braking right along the corner. You don't want to just a short trail brake in this game. You want a long, small pressure trail brake. As soon as you do it once, you'll be like, okay, because the car has like a certain slip angle to where the trail brake sort of matches it, and it's like you hold this as neutral steer, it's called. You want to hold this position nicely. If you can hold the position, you can gain so much lap time. So first gear, you want to focus on a good exit, because we have a bit of a straight coming up. It's a very good exit what you want here. We can apply the throttle really early, as you can see. See here, even before I've turned in, like before I've even fully turned in, I smashed the accelerator down. You can get away with being quite vigorous on the accelerator, because because the corner's uphill, so it's not, you get a bit more traction on your rear tyres if you think about physics, because if you're going up the hill, the rear tyres have more load on them. Track limits here are interesting. You can sort of get away with running wide, but then sometimes it gives you a penalty, so then I just recommend sticking to this curb right here. I'll at least have the right wheels on the curb. Okay, so this hairpin is pretty difficult, not because it's the way of the corner, but because when I tell you there's zero braking markers, I literally use my intuition to brake here. Like, the only little bit I can see is maybe this little indent grass patch, maybe when this curb hits a certain part of our car. That's what I normally do when there's no braking markers. What I've been using is this little, like, astro patch. It's not really an astro patch, but it's just like a shortcut grass here. And when I get to a certain point on it, I brake. Yeah, so as soon as I'm like almost alongside it, I start to brake. You can brake really late here, and you can get away with it. So for this corner, you want to focus on a good exit, so a late apex, very late apex. I think in this lap I did it slightly earlier, but a late apex is preferred. So yeah. I'm getting on the throttle really early here again. We can, because this car has no power, so we can just get on the throttle early. So focus on a good exit here. That's crucial. And also, I recommend as well, for the first few times of this corner, I was losing time, and I didn't really notice it until I like released pressure earlier, or even if not even released pressure earlier, but brake a bit lighter towards the corner, and then you carry more speed through it. And that gave me like literal like 0.2 of a second. So there's a lot of time to be made in this hairpin. Bring it out all the way wide. We can go really wide here. We can use this curb. I think the track limits are updated recently. I'm not too sure though. I think I saw some sort of video on it. I used some other guy's track guide. I'll link him in the description. I'm very sorry I forgot your name, but I will link you in the description for sure. But he really helped me. So in 2 days I got to a 133.482, which I'm quite proud of, to say the least, because this is my first time on Iracing, so I think I've gained pace pretty quickly. This is flat, cut as much as possible. Sorry about that. This corner is quite interesting. I really like this corner actually. I'm a big fan of high speed corners. So what you can do, you can sort of, I'd say for the first few laps, lift fully for this corner. Just lift fully and then get back on the power after you've turned in. But after you get more comfortable, I'd say release. You could probably get away with I reckon 50% throttle whilst you're mid corner, and that can keep your minimum speed way up, and you can gain a lot of time. But for this lap, I dropped it a bit more just to get the car more turned in. And then after we exit this corner, we want to get straight back on the power. So it's a third gear corner. Do not brake for it, just lift. We can do like a 50% lift or even 80% lift. It doesn't really matter what it does, but for the first time, I'd say just fully lift and then slowly decrease the amount of lift that you do, if that even makes sense. We can use this curb. I've been experimenting. I don't think there's a faster... I'd say the curb's just a little bit faster because you can sort of cut the corner more, but sometimes it bounces you out wide, and you don't really want that because the track limits here is like you have to keep one wheel at least on this curb. So for the next corner, we brake right here at this little bollard sort of thing here. Oh, it's a drainage pipe. Okay. So we brake at this drainage port here. First gear, high first gear, so obviously high revs. Keep the minimum speed up, get on the throttle early. See how early I'm on the throttle? We should be on the throttle very early here, because the car is going uphill, so you got a lot of traction to play with. So this is a very nice corner, I really do like it. You can take this curb as well, sometimes it bounces you out, so you just need to experiment with it. Okay, so this corner is probably the most horrible corner on the circuit. If you can do this corner, well done, because it's quite horrible. Actually, I'd say the next corner after this one is equally horrible, but this one is pretty horrendous. As you can see, it's very blind. You don't even know that there's a corner coming up here. When I was learning the circuit, I didn't even use a track guide for like the first 20 laps or so. So I was just going in this corner blind, and I didn't even know how to take it. But this corner can be flat, easy flat, as long as you get the turn in right. What I do, I position the car on the right, and as soon as I see the little bit of curb sticking out, you'll see it. I'll pause at the time. Then you want to turn in quite aggressively, actually. Here, now I start turning because I can see the start of the curb, and we want to take this corner flat. You could probably pick out a marker, but this is the way that I do it. I don't know, it even keeps me more engaged because I'm like waiting for the curb. Just be patient with this corner because it's quite easy to turn in early. I find myself doing sometimes, and then you sort of mess up the corner, but you can really smash this curb on the left here. In this particular example I didn't, but you can smash that curb. Do not be afraid of that. You can even gain like a 10th or so doing that, so use it. Okay, so this corner is pretty damn horrible. I always feel like I'm getting it wrong. I probably am, but from the people that I've watched, they also get it wrong. Well, it looks wrong, but I don't know if it actually is. It's just a horrible corner. It's because it sort of tightens up, so it's like you need to trail brake whilst also keeping your minimum speed up, whilst also favouring you exit. So I'd say I brake normally just before this curb here, when the curb ends, and I just sort of do a light trail brake. You can give manual blips here because you're going to be shifting down mid-corner. So, do the manual blips or do auto blip, it doesn't really matter. And just keep the car stable. We can apply just a little bit of throttle actually. A little bit of throttle is going to shift the weight backwards, which is going to give us more rear end traction. As counterintuitive as it may seem, it actually gives you more rear traction, gives us more understeer. So you can experiment with that as well. So we go to first gear eventually in this corner. I sort of shift down midway. And then I go to first. And then, as you can see, I'm aiming to cut this curb as much as possible, and we want to really favour your exit here. So get on the power quite early, to be honest. It's kind of a common theme in this circuit to get on the power very early. You just want to favour your exits, really. See how early I applied the power? You're going to feel like you're going to understeer wide, but you actually don't. So don't be afraid to use it. And then for this right-hander, that's flat, just cut. For this section, just, cut out all the curb. It's all flat. Okay, so this corner is a spicy one. I very much like it. Sometimes I don't, though, because sometimes it's quite easy to screw up. So we want to sort of smash over this curb here, and we want to brake as soon as we sort of enter the green Astro here. We want to brake as soon as we hit that. Brake to, I'd say the optimum braking pressure is probably like 80% here, but then we bleed off quite quickly. It's quite a quick trail brake compared to the other corners, which are quite slow, so the tempo completely changes in this corner. Quick trail brake, down to first, get the car turned in, and apply the power, smash the power down, because you're going uphill, you got a lot of rear traction, and you need to do a very good exit because you got a long straight coming up. So you can use this camber as well to keep you in. You can take this curb, sure, just make sure you get a good exit. And then for this last bit, just cut, just dive for this bit here, just cut this last bit. You can literally gain a tenth from there. Now if you take it wide, you lose a tenth. If you take it short, gain a tenth. Free tenth right there, so use it. And that is a lap of Circuit de Ledenon. Very good track. I really like it, to be honest. I didn't think I would when I first did these. When I first tried the circuit, because I had to learn it for iRacing Rookies, because in other games you don't really have these circuits, which is sort of a pity. That's what I really like about iRacing, is there's so much variety of just the tracks in general in the series. So it's a really good platform. If you want to try it, I'd definitely recommend just buy a month subscription or something like that. I mean, if you know that you're gonna like it, then buy a year, because you get a better deal, because you get 50% off, I think, when you're a new subscriber. So it all depends. But so key takeaways to come from, if you're going from ACC to iRacing, I'd just say just keep practicing. Practice that light trail braking pressure. Practice not going to 100% brake force and only 80%. Even I struggle with that sometimes. It's quite hard. It's quite counterintuitive, because it's like, surely to brake more, you brake harder, but it's like, no, we should brake at 80% instead of 100. Because iRacing doesn't really like us to use the ABS system, which is, I don't really have an opinion on it, because I'm not a real racing driver, but it makes sense. It does sort of make sense to me. But that is a lap. Obviously I'm not the quickest, so if I made mistakes, if you think you can do it better, then let me know in the comments, of course. But this is just like a guide for rookies, just like me. It's from a rookie to a rookie. So yeah, thank you very much for watching.